What's going on, everyone? Yesterday's another toy review, and yes, the man that stands in front of you is the one and only Cloud Strife from the upcoming new remake of Final Fantasy VII. Now, this figure here is made by PlayArts Kai, and off the back, the details look amazing. So let's go ahead and jump into this review and see what this figure has to offer. So as always, let's look at a full 360 of good old Cloud here. So as for Cloud, they actually gave him not only, a new look, they even went with a different style of painting the hair. The hair is definitely more reminiscent of the old video game texture-wise, because remember they started making the hair transparent, so it's back to being solid. And they also made it where it's definitely a lot more flowing. It sticks out quite a bit. So further as just the job that PlayArts Kai did, they did a really damn nice job. Which most of their Final Fantasy toys actually come out pretty damn good for the most part. Probably because it's their shit, so they're going to make sure they don't mess it up, as I said before. But it's really, really nice. Like the paint job, the weathering. Like look at that belt. The belt is actually worn pretty badly. That looks really good. The sweater, the knitting looks nice. The belt. Paint job on the pants. You can see a little bit of blues in there. Going down. You can see a little bit more detail in the boots. Boots is actually designed slightly different this time around. Let's look at the side view. You can see the stitching in the pants. Studs on the glove. Got some definition in the arms now. And if you look at the shoulder plate, has a little bit more details on it. And it's also a slightly different color than the old one. And I will be running over exactly the changes that you get from this version of the Remake Cloud versus the old school Final Fantasy PS1 Cloud. There's the hair. More detailing. Looks really, really nice. Back of his boots. And last side. Paint job on the glove is pretty weak. Texturing on the actual gauntlet part. Well, not gauntlet, but on the forearm actually looks a lot nicer. I actually like that little texture where you can see like the stretched leather. It looks really good. There you go. Full 360 of good old Cloud. Now let's go ahead and look at height comparison. Here's Noctis. What's funny, I was looking at both of their faces, and I'm going to see if it's just me. Y'all can actually take a look at it as well. Tell me what you think. Looking at Noctis' face and looking at Cloud face next to one another, it almost looks like they took the same scope face, changed a little bit, not by much though. I've been noticing players been recycling the shit out of toys. A few of my fellow toy collectors, we've been trying to pinpoint out which toys they probably took from. But you look at Noctis and you look at Cloud. Lip design, nose is slightly different, eyes slightly different shape, but for the most part the structure of the face looked the same. It just looked like they blew it up a bit, and clearly Noctis has some skin tone to him. He's more pinkish, where Cloud is pasty as shit. So that's really the differences in height there. But height wise, they're the same. Okay. It was kind of funny looking at these two together, but I did look at when I first looked at the toys next to each other, preparing for the review. I laughed at because it actually shows the generation. Like Cloud came out in '97. Obviously, Noctis came out last year, I believe. Was it last year? I can't remember. I haven't played that Final Fantasy yet. I have it, but it's in the plastic. But he has like skinny jeans on this end. He has baggy jeans on this end. So you actually can see a generation change off of that alone. So it's pretty funny. I know this is soldier gear, but still, the overall aspect, if you think about the characters back then, pants were a lot more loose, where pants over here is definitely like capris. But let's go ahead and move him out of the way. Jump more into Cloud himself. Now let's go ahead and look at the accessories that Cloud give you. Cloud don't give you too much. Obviously, he's a dude that runs around with one fucking sword. So obviously we know what we're kind of getting ourselves into with this figure. Nice little close-up of the sword for you. A little bit of weathering on the blade. They got lazy here on mine. As though they just took the brush and just dabbed it a few times and it was like done. So that paint job is kind of whack. Blade is nice and thin. Weathering on this side as well. No weird blotches on that side though. Hilt is pretty small. Obviously the change really with this version of the sword is this weird engrave design. Obviously in the old school one they didn't have that. He just had a big chunk of fucking metal in the old school one. He's going to come with a total of 4 set of hands. You've seen the ball fist hands already. He's going to have a loose grip hand. Nicely detailed. Nothing too spectacular, but looks good. You're going to see a tight grip hand. And then you're going to see a relaxed hand. And like I said, the other hand is pretty basic. This one looks really nice though. You can see all the actual pieces of armor on the glove. Look at these hands. They're just plain old brown hands. They're sculpted nice, but paint job is pretty lazy. But it is what it is. And he's going to come with this little bit adapter. Alright. And what I'll do is I'll show that to you shortly when I actually equipped his weapon on him. So, as for articulation, Cloud is actually really, really nicely done. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of close-up on him. So as for head, he go about that far down. He is on a double ball joint. He look about that far up, which is pretty damn nice. He can tilt his head really nicely. Looks really, really good. Same thing for that side. Obviously, the little screw kind of gets in the way. He can do a full 360, top and bottom, top of the neck or bottom of the neck. They work together really well. Now, what's actually kind of funny, they took the Metal Gear route when it came to the joints on this time around. I think they did the same thing with Noctis, where I actually like this way a lot better just because more secure and it just works really good. What they did differently on this was his joints is pegged in on an angle going into the chest, and then it goes into a hinge, a single hinge that's pegged into the shoulder itself. So going forward on the arm is kind of odd because if you notice, let me kind of get in close, see if I can actually show y'all. You can kind of see the design there. Okay, so it works in some aspects, and the reason why I say it works in some aspects, like this wasn't hard to rotate the arm upwards. I don't know if it's just a stiff joint. Okay, the other one, I got 2 of these. The one that I was moving the other, when I first got the figure in today, I was trying to rotate the arm and it was kind of a pain in the ass. So I'll take back what I was about to say. It actually works pretty damn nice. As for going out on the hinge, he has a really nice range of motion. Nothing really holding him back. He has a swivel in the bicep. Single hinge joint. Bends pretty damn nice. His wrist goes up fairly down and up. Works really good. Rotation, obviously. Hands are easily removed. So let's go ahead and put his... Let's put his glove hand on. Obviously be careful with these, because I know when you don't have the original joint that it came with on there, or you're trying to put like another hand, a lot of times that hole on the hand is much tighter than the hand that comes on it in the box. So you don't want to break that actual, what you call that, the ratchet joint. So just be careful changing it out. All right, going down to his mid section. He has about no tilt really. A little bit, but not by much. Nothing too far going back and forth here. He can rotate. That works really, really well. This is like a softer PVC, so it's not hindered. All right, you can do a full rotation down here. When you bend that part, works pretty damn good. And if I'm not wrong, maybe I'm tripping. Well, I'm tripping, but bend joint wise, it works. And I like the fact that this is actually casted all the way through, so you don't have to worry about, you know, seeing any gaps or any weird shit like that. It actually just works really great. And it's kind of dope how they did it, because it's attached in the front, obviously, right? This is a loose piece. This is all one piece. And then, oh shit, that's actually really smart. So when they did it, they actually made it where the front is attached in the front, but it's, you know, loose at the very bottom. It's just attached to the mid. Where this is open in the back, but is attached to the pants. So it was almost like a zigzag how they attached it. That was actually pretty clever. You can see the actual seam line going all the way through. That's dope. As for range of motion, Cloud has a huge range of motion. You're gonna get a weird gap, obviously, because you can see his Robotnik balls, you know, just there you go going on. The hinge is pretty exposed, but further as what you can do, nothing to be concerned about. It do get kind of funky because the way his underwear is set up is kind of, you know, weird. But further as like getting him in the pose, I can tell you right now that's not going to be a problem. He has double hinge knees. I love the way they did it. They did a really good job on it. Really, really nice. His feet, obviously. Oh yeah, and he has a swivel in the thigh that's well hidden. You can look up here. Look at that shit. That shit is flush. You can barely see the line. Really good paint job. Really nicely done. On the ankle, rotation, obviously. You can do a little bit of, you know, pivot if you work with the joint. And you can bend it that far up, that far down, and then you have a toe joint. So getting him in a pose, I'm going to tell you right now, is not going to be hard at all. It's going to be pretty damn easy. And I can't wait to actually mess around with him outside, just, you know, seeing what type of pose I can pull off and shit. As for the back, you know what? Let me not do the pose thing yet, because I do want to show y'all something real quick. So, on his back part, there's a little part right there. You remove out. They did bring this back, which I was happy as shit about, because I thought it was utterly stupid that one of the clouds did not come with this plug. And because he didn't come with this plug, you couldn't put his damn weapon on. You couldn't let him, you know, store his weapon on his back. They brought it back, which I was extremely happy with, that they actually brought that back. So he can actually equip this weapon and it's not a problem. So I'm really, really happy with that aspect a whole lot. The reason why I'm going to take a little bit longer at the end of this video, to show you a quick comparison. So here's the comparisons of the new Cloud versus the old Clouds. So I do have the City of Cloud on me, and I do have the original one that came with the Daytona bike. I think that's what it's called. So I have all three Clouds we can kind of look at. Now the thing is, which you kind of already know off the top on some of these designs, this is clearly the remake, and this is that versus game they came out with. Now what it looked like they did, they almost look like they actually kept a lot of the old design slightly, and then they took a lot of the Cydia versions, or the Cydia version cloud, and changed a little bit. I actually prefer the color scheme on the original a lot more than the other two. One, it just showed a little bit more texturing. The color palette was actually more nice, in my personal opinion. This one has more of like a purplish blue. This one is like a dull blue, the new version, and then the Cydia version is like a dim blue, slightly with some blacks in it. Also, you can notice on this one has the brown straps. This one has like a off gray, maybe like a dirty wash. This one still has the brown straps as well. Looking at the belt itself, has a nice little design showing the metal studs. This one has the belt strap, so this is a new design. This has a larger design on the front versus this one had a smaller one, and this one has a larger design, but the waist area is made completely different on the Cydia one. Now, looking at his arms, I still prefer the old school more, because like I said, the color palette, just looking at it, in my personal opinion, this looks nicer. Like, he has the black strap at top, and then you see the glove itself, where this is just straight up brown. Then you having that black joint. What the fuck is that? But hey, it is what it is. Looking at this one, if you notice, the design on this one is more like that one. It just has a more brighter brown like this one. But they kind of went with that route versus the old school route. Looking at his metal band is somewhat like the old school. Once again, I like this a lot more. Maybe it's just being biased, I don't know, but I just prefer it. It just looks better. Like I said, the texturing, the colors is more so my thing. Like, if you look at the coloring on this, it's pretty dull and boring. The design is boring. This has a little bit more texture, something to pop. Even with the Cydia version, if you notice, that's kind of how they took that route. So it looked like they used the Cydia version as their main base and kind of worked off of that. Alright. So also, if you notice, he's more like darker tones. Maybe it makes sense because it is a darker game out of the Final Fantasy series. This one had more of a grimy feel to it, so maybe they went with darker tones. Where still, once again, better colors on the old school. That nice brown. I do like his hand gauntlet better though, because it's more like medieval armor on the glove, where this had like these weird metal rings in the glove. That kind of didn't make any sense further as how his fingers would physically move. Let's see if I can get you a better view of that. So that is a change there. And the last part that we see the difference in is his boots. So if we look down, his boots is brown. Once again, it breaks up that boring tones and colors, where the Cydia version and the newer version boots are black. They did keep an old school aspect because they left this brown, like a dark brown, where this part matches up, where this one is like gray. So it was a little bit of best of both, I guess. What I am happy with, the Cydia version did not come with his sword holder. The old school one did, because you can see it in the back, where they actually gave him the stud. So I was actually extremely happy with that element coming back, because I was kind of like, yo, what the shit? Why would you take something away that actually holds the weapon? So I'm really, really happy with that. Also, one thing they did do on the new one, they turned this little part a different color to kind of give life to it, where in the original it was just more studs, and I think it was not even really visible like that. Like, you can kind of see it, but it was barely there. And then on the new one of the Cydia version, didn't even have that. His arm pad was completely designed differently. So there is the comparison of the old Cloud versus the new Cloud, so you kind of see what you're going to be looking forward to when the game drops. One last thing I do notice I don't know if y'all really paid it any mind. What I did like is the fact that Cloud looks like a chick. And the reason why I say I like that, not because I want him to look like a chick, but more so in the game, it was one part, for anybody that remember the old school game, Cloud snuck into a prostitution place and dressed up like a woman. And when he does it, he didn't really do too much to his face. He just put himself in a dress, like a flat-chested chick. And they thought he was a girl. So when you actually look at this character, he has a very feminine look to him. So you can kind of think of that time period when that game came out, and it kind of like, damn, now I kind of see how he passed as a prostitute during that time period of the game. So that was just a nice little touch I actually seen. Because when I first seen the face, I'm like, yo, that's not the Avid Children version. This is a different face style. So there you go. But that is my review of Cloud. I hope y'all liked it. I hope I was able to inform y'all all the stuff y'all probably wanted to know. How do I feel about this figure? I would definitely pick it up. It's a great figure. Posability way better than Sephiroth, obviously, because he don't have nothing really hindering him in a way, and the scope just looks nice. The $128 is from Ami. I know Big Bad Toy Store has a higher price tag, so if you can get it elsewhere, I would suggest you to get it elsewhere so you won't pay for that ridiculous cost. And Big Bad Toy Store throw a ridiculous ass shipping fee on things. Like, I normally go to them when I can't find it somewhere else. Then that's like my last resort. But I got this from Ami and it was much cheaper. And because it's coming directly from them, I actually paid not that much. And I got this in 3 days. 3 days shipping, so it was EMS. So there you go. Hope that helped. Y'all continue to collecting shits. Please check out more. I have 2 other toys I got to review, so come back and check those out. And y'all continue to have a great one. Take care.